we think we're in a continuous reality. We think that there's a continuity between my life, my memories, but in actuality, every single nanosecond, your being is shifting between parallel realities that represent your state of being and reflect where you need to be. So at every single moment, what we call a physical movement is actually moving between parallel Earths. So what's happening right now on Earth is that consciousness is moving. There's a momentum of consciousness, which is basically God, or we could call it spirit, that is pushing through all these things to lift them out of suffering and move through them so that we can actually work in unison and become what we were designed to become, in paradise. And what that's going to do is it's going to cause a splitting of worlds, where there's actually going to be literally multiple worlds. Like, think of them as trains, and each train is taking off right now. In 2012, the train started leaving. They're going slow right now. Every single year, those trains, they're all at an angle, like a hand. They're all moving at an angle. You can hop on whatever train you're on right now. Like, this is my life, this is the train. I'm going to go try this one, I'm going to try this one, try this one. Right now, it's a walk, it's a breeze. You can hop on whichever one you want. By the year 2018, those trains are going to be so far apart, you're going to have to run as fast as you possibly can. If you're not in the life that you want right now, you have to run as fast as you could to get to the life that you want. So right now, 2015 is the year of reinvention of self.
I only have until the end of this year. And that's all I kept remembering, is that's all I have. I don't know why, but for some reason I have to do something by the end of this year. But it's not like necessarily do. I didn't know how to explain it, because I was like, I feel like for some reason this year will determine what I'm going to do in the next forever.
Yes, that's, a lot of people get that confused. They think like, okay, well here I am on life, and I just have to put up with it until I die, and then I can go to heaven, and then I'll be with God's glory. You actually won't. You go to another Earth that's pretty similar to this one until you can learn.
You're like, what the hell?
You learn to enjoy this one fully and become who you are. Truly represent yourself creatively, imaginatively. Then you'll actually, the decision you make right now, today, like when you go home and end the day, is going to change the rest of your life. It's literally because you're constantly recreating yourself. Your brain, through every experience you have, your brain is adjusting to make sure that that experience is something you do often. You know what I mean? That's why addiction happens, is your brain is wiring itself to, this is the solution to this problem, so I'm going to do this. And every time you do that, you reinforce it, so then all of a sudden you'll crave that thing, thinking, oh my gosh, I just have a craving. It's happening to me. I'm craving it. You created the craving by doing it.
Yeah.
You wired your brain to say, this is what I need to do often. You could wire your brain to not do that, and it's actually a lot easier than you think. For example, quitting smoking. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I read that it's harder to quit smoking than quit heroin, so I'm not even going to try. Well, if you think like that, you're following a collective which is saying that it's hard to quit smoking. But in fact, you could actually just as easily make it not hard on yourself by having an agreement with yourself, saying, ego, I'm going to be a better person, I'm going to be a better self if I let this go. And your ego's like, well, I want it. And you're like, no, I'm going to make you better. You know what I mean? You're going to be a better person because of this. And it's like, okay. You want to be better? I want to be better. And then you can kind of walk with your ego, make an agreement with your ego, and a full detoxification of the body is needed. So if you detox your whole entire body, I would like get a detox kit, detox herbs, go to a sauna, sweat out for like a week. And then after that week, ask yourself, do I want to continue smoking? I don't think I need to. I don't really feel like the urge anymore. Like, maybe I'll go have a puff. You'll have a puff and it'll be gross. You're like, I don't even want this anymore. Why don't I like this?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're moving yourself to a different reality every time you make a choice in your life. And each reality is going to reinforce what energy you put into it. If you put into it, well, I'm having a bad day, I'm anxious, and I need a cigarette, then you're going to create more days that inspire anxiousness and bad days in you so that you need that cigarette again. Everything's a lesson. It's a reoccurring dream is our whole entire life. So if you notice, you've had a pattern of reoccurring dreams your whole life, correct? And each dream is somehow sometimes worse than the next, or nightmares, you can say. Reoccurring nightmare of relationships specifically will be a reoccurring nightmare because it's like you always bring this energy of like, this one's going to be different. It all of a sudden reflects the old one. And you're like, I thought, and then you blame the other person. I thought you were somebody else, and really you're mad at yourself because you created an opinion of who that person was. You put a label on them. This is who this person is, and they didn't fit that mold anymore all of a sudden. They walked away from that mold, and you're mad. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I trusted them, or I believed that they were this and they're not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that's because it's really on you, though. And when you're projecting
Yes.
that person to be that way,
Yes.
it's like you kind of set yourself up for the expectation and then not the failure.
If you go into a relationship looking for yourself in them, and you haven't found yourself yet, you're not comfortable with yourself, you're trying to be comfortable with yourself, so you go to them, they're only going to project to you back that you are somebody that isn't likable. They're going to project to you the feelings that you already have in yourself. Like every time they don't call, you think that it's because there was somebody else. The reason you do that is because you don't love yourself. You didn't. When the drug was available, when their attention was available, then you found yourself in it. And all of a sudden, I am magnificent. I'm an amazing being now because they are giving me attention. But when the attention is taken away, you become like a drug addict. So until you can fully allow yourself to love yourself unconditionally, all of a sudden your partner will show up out of nowhere at the coffee shop. And they will be amazing. They'll be everything you wanted because you don't need them. And they'll just be like, hey, for some reason, I just really want to spend my life with you. You're like, that's crazy because I'm happy doing whatever, so let's do it. You know what I mean?
I'm dumb.